Hi everybody and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 5 overview video for absolute beginners. Unreal Engine 5.7 is just released, so if you want to get it, you go here to the launcher. Here in the library section you click on the plus icon and then you can here install it. After the installation, press launch and then you will see this new window here. And you can see here on this window they have added here on the left side new resources for beginners, so they have a better starting point or can watch sample projects, go to the forums, documentation, tutorials, roadmaps and so on. But normally you come here to create a new project, so let's click on it and then you have here again this window where you can select games, and games has their own templates. Then you can select film, it has its own templates, architecture, automotive, simulation and so on. But what are actually templates? Let's select here games. Then we see here we have here 8 templates, and in short templates are just a starting point, but not from scratch. But of course you can start from scratch because here the blank template let you start from scratch. And with Unreal Engine 5.7 they added this new template here, Intro to Unreal, which is made for absolute beginners. So let's compare this template with this template and we see the other templates here, they have all time the C++ option as well compared to our intro template. And the main difference is when you hover your mouse over this blueprint here, it says this is a blueprint project, but don't worry, if you already know C++, you can add also C++ to a blueprint project. So don't worry if you want to use C++. Okay, and you should create now a project with this template. So you select this one, you can keep this one here in default. This one you can keep also in default. The only thing you should change is perhaps this project name. And then you just click here create, and I will give you a quick run through as well so you can compare your run with my run. Okay, after you created your project and started your project, you should see an editor like this here. But before we start with the tour, I want a note here. There is a new feature in the right corner here, and you click on it, and this is the new AI which Unreal introduced, but it is mainly made for just information right now. And one cool feature about this new AI is, of course, you can use here the text prompt, but you can also use your mouse in the editor. You hover over any object. I hovered here over, for example, this outliner, and then you can press F1. F1 will then create this one here automatically for you. Let's make another example. I hover my mouse, for example, over the start button here, and then I press F1, and you can see this one pops up automatically here. The AI is trying to search now anything, and you can see the new prompt here. It says I would like to know what the play toolbar button does. Here is a short description, and down you see resources where you can learn a little bit more about it. And before we start now the tour, here on the left side a side note. This one is the tutorial section, but it could be that your tutorial section is not working right now. You can go here on the corner, there is a little blue arrow, you click on this, then you see this is the tutorial section, you just close it. Then you get here a message, the tutorial is closed, but here on top on the toolbar you see here this icon, open tutorial, and then this one here is reloaded. It should work then. And you can see these are the steps for this tutorial. You can read here through and it will everything explain, and this kind of stuff I skip in this tour. I won't just give you a quick run through, but when you do it, you should read this one and you are better than me later. Okay, we go here on top. Here's the start button. Of course, you can also use the shortcut with the keyboard Alt P to start. We click on it. Then you can see our mouse is here captured in the play editor, And here's a problem. It says here press escape to return to the editor. This is not working on my side. I don't know why, but on my side the shortcut is Shift Escape. Okay, let's start. We click here on the start button. We see here already a window. We can walk and test that what it is here mentioned. Of course, you can also press Shift Escape here. Then with the mouse, you can read here this kind of stuff, because now you can use the mouse as well in the editor. We have the editor play and the real gameplay. And then you just start here again after you read this. And then we go on. So the mouse is just to walk around, to watch around. WASD is to walk around. And then we go to the next point. And again, to read this one, you can here press Shift Escape again. Use now the mouse navigation in editor, like they mentioned before. And then after you read the section, you start it again. But before we go on, let's change our place screen a little bit, because you can see it's little. So I go here on the side, I can zoom it here a little bit, so make it bigger, and on the side as well. But this one is still not good enough. We can use different play modes. On the top we have here, for example, a new editor pie. When we play it, this is one option, but we can also just press the F11 key, and when you press this one time, then it expands here, and then you will see just the editor play. And then if you want to go back, you press again F11. Okay, and we go on. I press here on start again. We walk here, so on. And then you pause here again, read this, what it says. I just know it. So you can see during gameplay, we really can't do anything here. We have to stop, Shift Escape, then go to the cubes, you select them, and then use that what it says. For example, we want to change here the scale, it says. So we press the scale, it's R, and then you can do something here. And then we press, for example, the move is W, and then you change this. Or you can also rotate it. So press E, let's rotate this. And then we can press just start again to see what we did. And you can see now I have changed this one anyhow. Okay, when I stop and start, you will realize that you start all time a little bit back, because it starts from a save point. Okay, I start here again, I run, then we run here on top, and we read this again, and we have here a widget animation. You can see what it's saying. Then you can stop this again. You can try to do this. I already did this. So what we have to do, we go here to the content drawer. We go here to level prototyping, to meshes, and then you select one. And then you use all the knowledge which you just learned. You rotate this one, you scale this a little bit, and then you position this one, and then you run over it if it works. Okay, and we run here now, and we are blocked, and we have to change the blocking volume. And let's do this. First of all, we stop. Then you find the blocking volume here in the outliner by naming or just finding it. It says here blocking volume. Here on top you can write just blocking volume, and then you find it. And then you click on the blocking volume. There are different ways. You can just delete it, or in my case I have just here changed the position. So it was here before, it blocked us. I said, okay, I don't need to delete it. I just push it a little bit on the side, and that's it. We are running again to the next part, which is here, which is material. Again, we read here what we have to do. It says we should change something here, and then we click on this one. Here we have clicked the object. We go here in details panel again. I make this a little bit bigger. And then we have to find the material section. Here are some headings, but you can also search. Here's the material section. We double click on the material here. The material window is opening up, and here on the sides in the details panel, we have already that what they said. We can click here the surface properties, and we could change here these values, and you can do something new here. For example, let's make green or something like that. Let's say okay. Let's click here on save, and let's go back, and you can see the material is green. Okay, and we go on here. We jump now to the particle effects, and here you read this again. I stop here because we have to click here to the particle effect symbol icon here. Then here in the details panel, we go down to the Niagara section, then we can double click here, but you can also open this one and double click here, it's the same thing. And then we have to find the spawn count, and here is a problem, the details panel is not there. So we go here in Windows, here are all the windows you can open, and they have forgotten to open at the details panel. So we click on this one, details. So this details panel open up. Now we can click on this one here, because here anywhere is our spawn count. We have just to find it now. And the spawn count is not called spawn count. That can make it also difficult. So we go here to emitter update, and then here spawn burst instantiations, or what this is. And in this section we have a spawn count. I even don't know if this is the right one, but let's change this one from 100 to 1000. Then you go here and compile, because we have all time press compile when we change something, and then you can press save, so that all the saves this is overtaken, and you can see this looks different, right? And we are here now at the sound section, and you can see when I come near we hear sound, and the instructions here. Let's stop this, read the instruction, and now I have to select the sound icon here. Again, we go after selecting the sound icon to the details panel, because we have to change here something, and it says something like sound seed. If you can't find it here in the details panel directly, of course you can use here also the search bar, write something like seed, and you can see it's coming up, or you just scroll down and it's here at top in this case, and then we have just to change it. Let's make this to 1. Let's see what happens now, and then you just start it and check what happens. You can see the sound is a little bit different than before. Okay, and we are jumping to the next part, which is physics. So you can see when I run into this one, they are moving anyhow. This ball is moving as well, and this one here too. But important note here is, this works only if you have physics activated, which means, for example, I select this one here. We go again to the details panel, and here are many things, and we have go to the physics section, and here in the physics section it says here simulate physics. This one must be selected. Let's see if I deselect this, I start this one, and you will see now when I go here back, this one here is not reacting anymore. The other one still reacts because they have simulate physics and so on. And we are running again to the next part, which is lightning. So here it says we should add lightning here, and they give even us a hint. So we stop here again. It says here press L, and we can make here a point light. Yes, we have lightning and so on. But of course you can use more other lights. For example, going here on top, we have here place actors panel. This opens up here a panel, and here is, for example, lights, and there are the different lights, and the point light which you see here is the point light which we have here. Okay, and we are running to the next part, which is the animation part, and you can see how animations are there, but animations are actually a little bit complicated. Let's see why. For example, you go here in the detail, no, in the world settings this time, and in the world settings you see this game mode section. This is a very important section, and the character which you are using is right now the default pawn class. Then you press here this icon here to open up this here. This is the class which you are just using. Double click on this one, and we go here in the viewport. You see this is your character. We just see the hands here all the time because we have our first person view. But then we go here to the details panel, here down, here's the animation section, And in the animation section, you will see what you have to create. You have to set this one. Later, you have to create, for example, this anim class. Let's open up this one here with this sign icon and double click on this one. This kind of stuff you have perhaps to set up. It's very complicated because you have to read a lot, but easy. Complicated means not just a lot of work. And then you can see you have to set up this one. You have to set up, let's click on this one on top, perhaps a blend space, and you can see there are different animations already here. And then you have set up skeletons or whatever, and you can see that you have to read this through. And don't worry, right now with animations, it looks very complicated, but when you just concentrate on animations, it's not that complicated. Okay, and we are going to the next part, which is the sequencer. And when I come close to it, a trailer will start. The control goes away first because the trailer is running. And then after the trailer finish, it is back to the play mode again. But let's see how we can create a sequence. Here on top, here is a symbol for the sequencer. There are different options here. And let's not create one, but let's see how they created this one. So we select here the icon again. We jump to the details panel. Here in the details panel, we go to open level sequence. And then you see a new sequencer tab here on the bottom, and they show how they create this one. Okay, we are running. And this time we are running to the section blueprints again. You can see what happens when I go here on this button. It closes, and when I go again, it opens up and we read this one here. But what are blueprints? The short answer is just it is a programming language, but the nice thing is it is not text-based. It is more graphical, and we make in shorter example, but we read also this challenge here. So it says here, you should try to make this light on top as well as like this other one. So when I start here the game, I go on top of this one, and you can see the other two lights are green. The on top is not green, and our challenge is to make this green. And we will make this perhaps with blueprints, perhaps. So we stop this one, but let's see what happens if I select this trigger here, because here you can see here is something like called in the outliner BP door trigger. This is also one, and here I can go here and click on this side here to open this trigger up. And what you see now here, we have here a viewport. This is this thing what we see here in our world, and how they construct this one. And here is something called event graph, and what you see right now here, this is blueprint. And you see, compared to the traditional programming language, it is not text-based, and that's why blueprints are much easier. You follow just more or less this one node. You start from one node, and then you follow this one white line, and then you go to the next one, and then all time you check out what you want to know about this one and then go on. It's much easier. But I want not solve the challenge here for you, so I give you just a hint, because it has not so much to do with blueprints, and the hint is just check the details panel when you select this one here. Okay, and we go on here to the section templates. We have already talked about this template section a little bit. This is a starting point if you want not go from scratch, but of course there is also a blank template. And we can also jump here to the samples project, which is related to templates. The only difference is these are bigger projects. Templates is just a starting point, but when you watch here, for example, the sample projects, they are much bigger. They have much more, looks much more like a game already. Okay, and with that, we finished our intro tour. And if you want to write in the comment section if you solved the challenge, if not, perhaps other people will give you a hint. See you in the next video if you want. Bye and good luck.